President Council Cahill. President Council Capano. President Council Calucci. President Council Creighton. President Council Seer. President Council Ford. President Council Lozey. President Council Net. President Council Phelan. President Council Trahan. President 11 present.
Can we all please rise for a moment of silence?
I feel like I'm doing this every weekend. It's sad. But we lost another good winner. Keeping your prayers, Paul Doyle. Papuano, Little League, Babe Ruth, Legion, went on to St. John's Prep. A wonderful winter athlete. He coached at Lynn Classical for a number of years, and it'll be a big loss. Thank you. It is a big loss. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need a motion to accept the meeting minutes of February 12th and February 26th.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
We have no communications. We'll go right to public hearings. Public hearing relative to a burnt, dilapidated, or dangerous building or other structure located at 13 Lander Ave, and after hearing may make record and order a judging it to be a nuisance to the neighborhood or dangerous and prescribing to its disposition, alteration, or regulation, all is authorized by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 139, Section 1.
I'd like to open the public hearing for anybody wishing to speak in favor. Please.
We speak in favor of demolition. We've been trying to contact several banks to see if we can purchase the property for that reason, because since the break-in, the drug addicts, and all that stuff, we haven't been able to get in contact with anyone, so we vote in favor of demolition.
Thank you. Could you just take your name for the record?
On to Jesus.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually, I own two properties in the same street, so 9 and 16 others.
So this constant, drug addicts, just people suspicious of the people going in and out of that house at night. The water, the club, people sleeping there. It's not cool because there's kids around, you know what I mean? Play on the street and stuff like that. So we vote in favor.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, close the public hearing for all those in favor. Open the public hearing for anybody in opposition. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Anybody in opposition? Seeing no one wishing to speak in opposition, close the public hearing for all those in opposition. Close the public hearing. Councilor Calucci.
Mr. President, again, same situation. No one's here to speak not to abolish it, or abandon it, or to demolish it. So I'm making a motion to it all three.
Second. Motion made, seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano? Yes. Council Calucci? Yes. Council Creighton? Yes. Council Seer? Yes. Council Ford? Yes. Council Lozey? Yes. Council Net? Yes. Council Phelan? Yes. Council Trahan? Yes. 11 yes. Next petition, petition of James Mitchell, Tropic Star Development LLC for permission to allow retail use in a light industrial zone at 4755 and 65 Boston Street.
I'd like to open the public hearing for anybody wishing to speak in favor.
Good evening. My name is Thomas DeMarcus. I'm attorney representing the petitioner, Tropic Star Development LLC. With me is Wayne Morrill, the project engineer. Also with us today, if I have any questions of the principals of Tropic Star Development, Scott Mitchell and James Mitchell. This proposed project would go at 4755 and 65 Boston Street, which is currently zoned light industrial, and we need a special permit from the City Council to put a retail use in there. The retail use would be a national pharmacy. Tropic Star is the developer. They would develop the property, build the building, and then lease it to the national pharmacy. Approved. Currently, those 3 parcels of land are where Happy Valley Automotive is located, Over Easy Restaurant, and Ernie's Harvest Time. And Tropic Star has all 3 parcels under agreement, and if we get all the approvals we need from the city, they will purchase those 3 parcels and demolish the buildings on those 3 parcels and build the building that you see in front of you. Tropic Star is a very experienced developer, has had experience building many pharmacies and many other types of first-class properties. And we have thoroughly vetted this with various agencies in the city of Lynn. It's been approved. You know, there's a drainage issue coming down from Pine Grove, surface drainage water coming across Boston Street. And we are going to improve that situation. We are going to, my clients are going to put a sidewalk on North Bend Street behind the building. They are going to eliminate, right now the 3 businesses that are on Boston Street, between them have at least 6 curb cuts onto Boston Street. They're going to eliminate those curb cuts and have 1 curb cut for traffic coming in off of Boston Street. And all the traffic going through the drive-through, Wayne, can you show them the drive-through? All the traffic coming through the drive-through will exit on North Bend Street behind the building. One of the, you know, we all know that Boston Street's a very busy thoroughfare. And one of the reasons that it's busy is the traffic can get unnecessarily congested sometimes, is because there are traffic lights at all 4 corners of the Stop and Shop. On Boston Street at the intersections of Washington and Franklin Streets, and on Western Avenue at the intersection of Washington and Franklin Street. And those, we've done a traffic study, and those 4 traffic lights are plagued by broken hardware and malfunctioning software and improperly programmed software where they're not synchronized properly. And my clients have agreed as part of this project, have volunteered as part of this project to synchronize those traffic lights at those 4 intersections, to repair the hardware and at their cost and expense to synchronize those traffic lights so that the traffic will flow better on Boston Street and on Western Avenue and on Washington and Franklin Streets between Western Avenue and Boston Street. Also, as I said before, eliminating all the curb cuts on Boston Street will help greatly with the reduction of traffic and the congestion and make it a safer thoroughfare. We've also proposed that we're going to put a traffic light at the intersection of Boston and Ford Streets, which a traffic study that we've done shows conclusively will improve the traffic flow and make it safer. That is one of the highest intersections in the city of Lynn for frequency of accidents. Now that's not in front of you tonight. What's in front of you is the application for a special permit to put a retail use in the light industrial zone. We have to go in front of the traffic commission to get permission to put the traffic light in. That will also be in my client's cost and expense. The sidewalk in back of the building on North Bend Street will also be at their cost and expense. So they're going to make several improvements to the city. You know, Salem 5 several years ago put a new bank in on Boston Street on the same side that this would go. And it really enhanced the appearance of Boston Street as you drive down what's a major thoroughfare and entryway into the city. And this will do the same. There are going to be other very nice touches. There's going to be plenty of landscaping, trees, shrubberies. We're going to have antique lighting on the building. Everything's going to be done in a first-class manner. So the engineer and the principals are here to answer any questions, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. At this point, we'll continue with the public hearing and bring you back if anybody has questions. Thank you, Attorney Marcus. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor?
Tom Pandolfo, 387 Lowell Street, DB, Massachusetts. I'm here to speak in favor of the project, and I was going to try to have a bunch of nice things to say, but frankly, most everybody knows me here, and I'm pretty frank about what I feel. And I have to tell you, for one of the first times, there's nothing to be negative about in terms of what Tropic Star wants to do. It should flow pretty smoothly. You've got 3 businessmen that between us, I think we got maybe 115, 120 years of doing business in the city, Lynn, and have been glad to do the business with the city, but I got to tell everybody, I know I'm ready. I think Bill's ready, and I think Ernie's ready to take a nice little trip down maybe to Aruba or wherever. You know, the time has come for us as businessmen to make this move, and Tropic Star couldn't have been more timely, and I think more fair with us in terms of giving us what we needed to be able to get out of there and really maybe see our dreams come true. So from a personal point of view, my neighbors and I are very positive and truly hope that this goes through. And that's from our perspective, and that's the selfish perspective, I suppose. On the other side of it, I see my community actually taking a win out of this. I've been trying to get my neighbors to group together to tear everything down, everything there. I mean, you talk between the hardware store that nothing's been done for 25 years. You got my store that I try to keep up. Bill is forget about it. And Ernie, you know, it's time to do something with that land. I think this is a perfect thing to happen. And I think it will complement the savings bank that's at the other end. I brought some, you know, I hear some things about the lights, and I hear some things about, and these are my friends talking, I respect them. I did bring some, I went out for a couple of days and got signatures of people that thought there should be lights there. And in no time, I had 250 signatures. Clearly, the area was to have lights 10 years ago. I don't know if anybody forgot that. Those were already approved by the state, and actually should have gone in. We took the money from that project, anybody that's sitting on the council might remember, and alleviated the flood problem that was actually coming out of the cemetery at the time. And that money came from the removal of the sidewalks on North Bend and the lights that were supposedly supposed to go on the corner of North Bend. And I do have to bring this up because I understand that the gentleman from Dunkin' Donuts has an issue with the lights. And I can't remember, but I remember him coming to me as a Boston Street Merchants president and saying that he wanted to buy Stinson's property and put a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts there, and would I mind? And I looked this gentleman in the eye at the time, and I said I wasn't in favor of it, and I didn't think that Dunkin' Donuts should be there. But business is business, and muzzle toss. If you can get it through the council, go ahead and do it. I can't get up and support you at this mic, but I won't get in your way. And I'm reminding you that you should be here of that. And I'd like to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Christina Gandolfo. I've never actually been a resident of Lynn, but my dad has owned this business for, let's see, I was 5. So I have seen Boston Street. I remember when Stinson's was there. I remember when Dairy Queen was there. And the city, I mean, I've watched the street change over time. And I have worked at, I worked at the Shaman I worked at Christina's, and I know we came here a lot with Christina's too. And I worked at Over Easy too. And I love Lynn for that childhood it gave me. It's actually made me an extremely professional. It's built who I am. But like I said, I've seen the street change. I see plazas get put in. I've seen the Dunkin' Donuts come in, and you know, again, I'm a big fan of Dunkin' Donuts. I'm a big fan of new development, but that's my generation. And I think when you consider the involvement of Lynn and the people that are coming here, supporting the Happy Valleys and the Over Easies and the Ernie's Harvest Time, we don't. I'll be honest. I'm speaking. I'm a 30-something, and we like our drive-through pharmacies. We like to go into CVS and grab everything all at once. I actually don't think I leave CVS spending less than $100 every time I go. I wish I could change that, but I can't because, you know, it's a grab-and-go situation. But, I mean, I just want to say that it will beautify the street, and I would actually be happy to drive down that street. So, that's just...
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Laura Gandolfo, and I'm speaking to kind of reiterate what my daughter said, is that I guess what I have to do, I've been working at Over Easy for the last 3 years. I'm in there 6, 7 days a week mostly. And I guess I'm speaking for all the people prior to when I just closed about 2 or 3 weeks ago that were in confusion about, you know, what was happening on Boston Street. And I guess I had to speak to them from my heart and just say to them that, yes, it is a sad thing that there's a possibility that we may be leaving, but it's time to move on. And I have to tell you that a lot of people understand that, and I just wanted to say that with the signatures that Thomas has and just the multitude of people that I spoke to in the 3 or 4 months leading up to, you know, the closing that we had and what's potentially, hopefully will happen, that many people are in favor of this, and especially the situation with crossing Boston Street. I don't know how many times I had to cross Boston Street and more or less wait and wait and wait because no one stops on Boston Street to let people. If anything, you need a light there so that anyone on the other side of the street can cross the street to Dunkin' Donuts or whatever if they go into Rite Aid. It's a dangerous street, and it's just something that I needed to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor?
My name is Lynn Sweeney, and I am in favor of this whole thing. We really do Boston Street good to have a new project.
Thank you. Anybody else wish? Oh, excuse me.
My name is Bill McSweeney, 47 Boston Street. I own Happy Valley Automotive. I'm strongly in favor of this project. It's going to enhance Boston Street, and it's going to enhance the city itself. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Ernie from Ernie's Harvest Time, 65 Boston Street. I'm definitely in favor of this project. I'm not even going to go over what everyone else says. What I do have is I got a few of my friends, neighbors, employees up here that just want to be recognized that they are also in favor of it.
If I can, is there anybody here that's in favor that is not going to come up to the microphone by a show of hands? Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody else in favor? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, close the public hearing for all those in favor. Open the public hearing for anybody in opposition.
My name is Katerina Panagitakis, 64 Hot Street, Lynn. There needs to be a comprehensive plan to justify that this decision to change the zoning is not made out of harmony for the good of the community. Rather than changing the zoning of a small area and showing a different colored spot on the map to accommodate a specific use group or those who are actually profiting from the change, and to avoid the implication that this decision is not being made out of favoritism, A less controversial zoning practice would be to grant a zoning variance to the specific business, allowing a non-conforming use for the time being to continue use, which will terminate when the use is abandoned. We have several big boxes in different communities. There's a change in times. Big boxes are not going to be the way to go have not been the way to go, and we do have abandoned places. I don't think we should change the zoning to accommodate this specific use group. And for the following reasons, these are my concerns for the petition, which I believe are not in harmony for the good of the community. Happy Valley Garage is on the state and local historic register, and there has been no indication that this building will be preserved and included in the proposed design plans. This is an asset of the Commonwealth and the City of Lynn, and the Historic Commission has written a letter of concern, and I believe, I'm not sure if you received that letter, the chair was to deliver the letter today. It could be the letter if needed. Also, my concern is that proposed land use has a different relationship with the surrounding properties. I am concerned. I don't live on North Main Street, but there are 3 homes on the historic register. The street has a certain character. The buildings are contributing to the Pine Grove area, and changing the use route to retail business hours, which could go on for 24 hours, could change the character of the micro neighborhood. Those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have the letter from the Historical Commission in the record. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in opposition? Anybody else in opposition? Anybody else in opposition? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in opposition, I close the public hearing for all those in opposition. Close the public hearing. Council Craig.
Mr. President, through you to the members, I'd like to speak in favor of this special permit. I know we're all saddened to see 3 small businesses in the city leave, but as Tom said, it seems like the right time. We certainly thank them for their service over the years. So I would like to make a motion to approve, but I also want to welcome any comments from the other councilors before proceeding with my second.
First, make a motion to approve by Councilor Creighton, seconded by Councilor Lozey. Discussion. Councilor Barton.
Yes, I talked to all 3 business owners, and I believe that it's really time, that they move on. It's not like they're being pushed out the door. This is something that they want to do, so I vote in favor of it.
Thank you. Councilor Cahill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I was wondering if you could have a moment, a couple of questions for either Attorney DeMarcus and or the developer as well.
Sure. If you could step to the, thank you. You can make it. The floor is yours, Council.
Attorney DeMarcus, thank you very much for your presentation, by the way. It's informative, helpful. We appreciate all you've done on behalf of your client. You've certainly represented them well. And I understand that you are just representing the developer.
That's correct.
The unknown national chain pharmacy is yet to be disclosed.
Right.
My question is, though, in building the building, and thank you for the shrubbery and the lights, that's all helpful. I'm curious as to what's actually happening inside the building. When this is being built, my guess is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. Like the Walgreens doesn't fit the CVS, doesn't fit the Rite. So my guess is it's going to be built with some type of chain in mind. I'm not going to ask you to disclose it, but I think there are many rumors out there as to which pharmacy you will be. Now that being said, there are, and we've raised this and I've talked to you about this before, there are a lot of pharmacies in the city. Some may say too many, but some may say that it fits with the demographics and the aging population of our country. So we understand the demand is there, so the supply comes. And as the one young lady alluded to, CVS has become more of a type of almost pharmacy/grocery store for a lot of folks. Myself included, I'm sure other folks here as well. The grab type of folks. But I'm concerned about a few things. One, once this is okay, my understanding is that no one's going to come back. CVS or Walgreens won't come back to us asking about stipulations of hours of operation and so on and so forth. So I have a couple of requests. One being, and this was raised by a gentleman at an event where it kind of blew my mind. Nice guy, simple guy, just said, we have so many pharmacies in the city of Lynn. Yeah. He goes, and some of them are open 24 hours. Yeah. Because the pharmacies are open 24 hours. He goes, so why do you let pharmacies like CVS that sell these other products stay open 24 hours? You know, all my 7-Eleven stay open, or my other convenience stores open 24/7. And he's right. And that struck me as something that should be done. So I guess I'm asking that whatever this chain is, that if they're going to have a pharmacy in there, that they man it 24 hours a day. I think that's good for the community. I think when we're talking about, well, let me back up. If your hours of operation, if you come to us and want to extend it, I just want the pharmacy open the time that you guys work. Because I think people expect to go to CVS with the pharmacy and have it be open. But the most frustrating thing is that the CVS is open at 10 o'clock and you get there at 7 o'clock and they close at 7 o'clock. It's frustrating to a lot of patrons. So I ask that you consider that. But most important, news was released today about the uninsured rate in Massachusetts, 3.9%, the lowest uninsured individuals in the United States, something we should all be very, very proud of. However, there was a caveat to the story. There were several communities that had double-digit uninsured rates, and one of them, unfortunately, was the city of Lynn. And of that subgroup of uninsured, predominantly young Hispanic males are most at risk of not having insurance in Massachusetts. So my question is this. There are such things that CVS has called a minute clinic. There are none in this area. It's something where people can go, get a flu shot, see an RN, get very quick medical advice, typically very, very cheap, and not have to go through the hassle of scheduling an appointment with your primary care physician, or going, more importantly, to a very costly, expensive emergency room visit. I would like for this pharmacy, whether it's a Minute Clinic or a Walgreens or whatever, to have that type of services to this community. We're desperately need it. We appreciate the shrubberies and the beautiful lighting and the traffic reconfiguration. But what we desperately need is access to health care. And we would love to be, I guess, open arms with a national chain that would provide such a service to our residents. I don't know if that's something you can talk to your client about. Well, my guess is once this thing's built, it's built. I'd love to see that retrofitted for a minute.
My client is interested in doing the very best that my client can for the city of Lynn. My client wants to do other projects in the future of the city. And just like my client is doing things which would legitimately be considered public projects, such as build sidewalks, repair and synchronize traffic lights. He's doing it because he wants to do what's right for the city of Lynn. As difficult as it may be for anybody to believe, my client does not have an agreement with any national chain at the present time. So I would ask Councilor Cahill that you don't make those conditions, you make those requests. You know how highly I value requests that members of the council make, and you and I have had situations like this in the past when you've made requests and we do the best we can to honor them. And I will certainly take those. My clients are here, they can hear the request, and if everything does get approved and they do come to an agreement with the national pharmacy chain, those requests will be made loud and clear to the national pharmacy chain. I understand that there are two of them. Have a Minute Clinic or the equivalent of a Minute Clinic. I don't know what Walgreens or Rite Aid or anybody else has. And for as long as the store is open, we'd like the pharmacy itself to pay. Those are the two requests. We will voice those in no uncertain terms.
I appreciate you doing that, and I know the stipulations will be very difficult to move this project forward. I don't want to be a hindrance to that, so I appreciate it. I value your word, and I look forward to this council working with the developer what the EC is that goes into that building. I think that would be a great addition. And that's not just my own personal preference. A lot of the councilors here will express that interest, as well as Council President Phelan. So we appreciate you working with us on that.
Let me just make sure that I'm not stepping out of turn here. And I don't want to make that promise if my clients already know they're going to do that, okay? So.
I am Scott Mitchell from Tropic Star Development. I'm the owner of the company. And we've done several pharmacies, and your request is well taken. We recently built the pharmacy in Amesbury, and it was the first one that we've had the mini clinic in. They completely fitted everything out for the mini clinic, but we're told they don't have all the paperwork in line to open this mini clinic. And we see the need, as you do. Hospitals are getting very, very expensive today, and these clinics are becoming very, very much more and more popular. We can't make it a condition to force them to do this, but we recognize the need here, and we'll push as hard as we can for it. We've had a great experience working with the City of Lynn. Mike's been fantastic with us. We're very much looking forward to doing more business in Lynn. And I can tell you that we can get this project done. We're going to try to set a threshold that's very, very high for other people to come up and bring their properties up to our level. We don't sell our properties. That's one of the things we do. We hold them forever. I think it was my father's upbringing. I never really shared my toys as a kid. So I would just say that we'll do everything humanly possible to make your wishes come true.
Thank you. Thank you. Council Lozey.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've heard tonight testimony from the current owners of the properties there, and it is bittersweet that they spent a number of years in these properties. There have been job losses by folks, customers that are saddened to see these businesses leave, but it is their wish to move on, and I don't think any one of us would like to see a vacant buildings on Boston Street. And I think what we've seen here is a very nice presentation of a proposed pharmacy, and I've spoken with the developers numerous times. I've spoken with Lynn Water and Sewer. They've been very responsive to Lynn Water and Sewer with the drainage. There has been past problems with flooding on Ford Street and overland flow coming from the cemetery. They've implemented mitigation with infiltration trenches, deep sump catch basins, and overall improvements. The landscaping scheme looks good, and I've mentioned to them how I continue to be a little skeptical, not of this one, but of any project that comes before us. I'd like to add a stipulation or a condition that this landscaping will be maintained on an annual basis, that if there are any dead shrubbery or flowers, mulch, that it be kept up on an annual basis. A lot of times we'll get these proposals, and then 2-3 years later it looks like a parking lot. And we really would, I think we're pleased to hear from the developer and his representative that they're going to do a first-class landscaping, but we'd like to see that as a stipulation in the permit, along with any special lighting. Overall, I think we've heard it, and we don't want vacant buildings on Boston Street. I'm in favor of this proposal, and thank you.
Thank you, Council Lozey. Council Lozey, I know that you and Council Creighton, amongst a lot of councils, have worked very hard on this project. I know it's my understanding that Council Creighton has a specific stipulation that I think will address both of those issues that you brought up. Any other discussion? Councilor Net.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I'd like to ask Attorney Marcus, you have any idea how many people will the company employ for decent pay? Good estimation.
How many employees you
I would ask you to be so kind to tell me the volume of my business. Then I could exactly tell you. But typically 15 to 20 people is typical. Lynn is a very big city, so it could be a lot more. But I would say that would probably be the minimum.
That's great. I'm very excited, and I know we are hungry for employment. So thank you so much for bringing this up.
Yes. Thank you.
Before you go, it seems to be a long walk back and forth. Does any city councilor have another question for Mr. Mitchell?
The only thing I'll do is address Wayne's landscaping issue. We've had trouble, we own several properties, and we've had troubles with the tenants taking over the landscaping part of that business. We spend, anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 on landscaping because it's kind of my trademark. And we're just so dissatisfied with some of the way that they keep the landscaping. So it's been a stipulation in our contracts and our lease agreements with these tenants. We take back the landscaping. So I gave Wayne my card. I said, listen, you have a problem, you call me.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councilor Creighton.
Mr. President, I'd like to, at this time, to add some stipulations that we put together through the work of a number of other councilors. The first stipulation that the applicant comply with all comments issued by the Lynn Water and Sewer Commission contained in their letter of October 25th, 2012. Number two, that on-site and off-site improvements will be made as outlined within the traffic impact and access study. Number three, that any modification to the approved site plan or traffic study be submitted to the IS Inspection Services Department Planning Division for approval through the site plan review process of the ISD, determining such change is significant. Also, that the majority of lighting on site will be antique and decorative in nature. And lastly, that all enclosed areas of curbing on proposed plan abutting any street or thoroughfare, as well as all islands in the parking lot, with the exception of mandated sidewalks, will be green space. Also, the installation of a minimum of 25 mature evergreen trees, as well as miscellaneous shrubbery, will be planted throughout on all green space areas.
For the clerk, so it's easy for her, do you have those in writing that we can give?
Yes, pass them on.
Okay, that'd be wonderful. I'll take that in the form of a motion. Did you have something for lighting as well?
Yes.
We'll stay with Councilor Creighton, we'll come back over to Councilor.
Just to your question, Mr. President, we had a stipulation relevant to antique lighting. Is that?
Yes. Thank you. Councilor.
And not to micromanage it, Councilor Creighton, but could we add in there the landscaping, including not just mature trees, but mulch and flowering, seasonal flowering? That I believe I read that in their proposal, and I want to hold to it.
Yes, we'll put that in the form of a stipulation. Motion made by Councilor Creighton, seconded by Councilor Lozey. So the motion to approve as amended with the stipulations, is there any further discussion? Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci? Yes. Council Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Seer? Yes. Council Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Council Net?
Yes.
Yes. Council Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. 11 yes.
Thank you.
Next
public hearing.
Petition of City Enterprise P. Anthony Ragusia for permission for a laundromat at 597 Essex Street. Hours of operation 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m.
I'd like to open the public hearing for anybody wishing to speak in favor. We're opening the public hearing, please.
Citizenship.
Representing CBS directly, so we can. Yeah. Well, we'll ask Mitch.
Liability company, required an option to purchase the property building at 597 Washington Street, the property directly across from the City Hall on Johnson Street and Essex Street, a building that has been vacant for some 4.5 years. My client was here before the council in January on this petition for a special permit to operate a laundromat at these premises. At that time, the petition was withdrawn, and one of the requirements or one of the requests was that he meet with the butters, which he has done, 12 butters, to address issues, particularly as to noise and smell, what have you. I believe those issues were laid to the satisfaction of those butters. What is proposed, and why we're asking for a special permit that's required by the City Council, is that if the permit were granted, my client intends to operate a laundromat. He has successfully operated a laundromat. He has 2 successful operations in Lawrence, and I do have pictures of the facility, both facilities, which the members of the council may wish to look at, to review. One of these operations has been in business for 3 years and one for 1 year. Very attractive buildings, as you can see from the photos, and they've been operated very successfully. My client is also in the construction business, an inspector as well. He's done his homework as far as this project, checking as to the need for this type of facility, density issues, population issues, and so on. Feels that this operation would be a successful business at this location. All of you are familiar, of course, with the building, this abandoned building, and with the parking facilities that are there. If the permit would be granted, his president's intent is to have 45 washers and 45 dryers on the premises. There are no dry cleaning on the premises, but strictly laundry. He also intends to operate, or has to operate from the hours of 6 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. And he would have at all times 3 employees on the premises working in 4-hour shifts. So in essence, it'd be 4 3-hour shifts each day, so a number of employees would be hired from the community. Ideal jobs for working mothers and other people seeking part-time employment. The employees on the premises, there would be a wash and fold area, so if people wanted to leave their laundry to be done and then folded, that would be available. There would also be 2 people at all times working security, making sure that everything was operating properly on the premises. My client presently has an option to purchase this property. Of course, one of the conditions is the granting of a special permit to operate at this location on those premises. My client has also tried to address all of the issues that have come to the fore, particularly as to any concerns that there may have been. I said 2 of those were the smell of chemicals and noise, and given the type of materials that are used, there should be no smell issue. If there's been any problems in the past with prior businesses with air conditioning, my client would address those issues. We also intend to repave that parking lot, restripe it, put in lighting, and other improvements, of course, all subject to getting the proper approvals and licenses from the city of Lynn. So the net result of this would be that you have a viable business directly on Essex Street, 597 Essex Street. We have a premises that have been non-used for the past 4.5 years. I did notice that there was parking there, so certainly when City Hall is open on Tuesday nights, it provides a benefit. Also, given the nature of the use of the laundromat, the primary time it will be populated will be generally in the evenings and on weekends, so it would have little or no effect with day-to-day operations of the courthouse and the city hall and other businesses of the area. There is adequate parking there, of course, for people who will be patronizing that facility. So the net result would seem to be that it's a win-win for everybody. My client is willing to invest his money and his time and his effort to operate this facility. He's done so successfully in the past, and he has some experience. He also tells me that anyone who will be working on the premises, all the employees, will be paid $12 an hour, so far above the minimum wage. So it's going to be an opportunity for people to earn income or extra income, as the case might be. And those will be primarily people who live or work and reside in the city of Lynn. So there are many positives that are in place, and something that obviously the city should be encouraging. The number of vacant buildings, unused buildings, is something that the city has wanted to address for a long time, and here is a step in the right direction. So that would urge the city council to give that consideration to approve the special permit and allow the operation of the laundromat at 597 Essex Street.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor?
Good evening, Council President. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to come before you and council members this evening. We have passed around a few photographs there of the current establishments that we do operate in Lawrence, Massachusetts. We've looked at the demographics for the area here, and it does support another laundromat within the area. A gentleman from Essex Street came to Lawrence within the last year, and we'd like the opportunity to come to Lynn. You see the operation, basic operation from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. We split the shifts up, 4 shifts per day, 3 girls that would take care of, one would take care of the store. The 2 other girls would run the facility, one would be predominantly doing wash and fold. 4 times 3 would be 12 different people employed from the city, and it would be 72 different shifts per week. I'd also like to take the opportunity to inform you that I did meet with the abutters. Some of the abutters had some concerns in which they were concerned about a possible odor. The odor would not be detrimental. If anything, it would be fabric softener. It would not be any more detrimental than the odor from the printing establishment that did operate there for a number of years. And no more detrimental than the odor coming from the laundromat, which is across from, I believe, the 7-Eleven that belongs to Woods. All in all, we did alleviate other concerns that they had. There would not be any lint or anything blowing towards anyone's property in any direction. Anybody that would come to our facility would park within our parking lot. We would keep a watchful eye on it that people do not come from the courthouse. We would have someone also observing to make sure that people do come there to attend our facility. Our operation speaks for itself. It's a clean operation. There really isn't anyone there that's going to be hanging around at any time. That people will be coming in from outside the area and hanging around. It's not going to be a hangout type of establishment because our girls keep an eye on everything. Probably 25 to 30 cameras, similar to our other facilities, with a hard drive that records off-site at our alarm company. The facility will be fully wired, alarmed, fire alarm system, and we would make all the necessary upgrades that will be requested from the building inspector. I hope you vote favorably for the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor?